Hi, and welcome back. We are releasing our infant and, our baby and child set yet this week, and I thought I would give you a quick edit to show you what this set is capable of. So in this set we have a clean edit base, which this image is straight out of Lightroom, or for you that don't use Lightroom, it would be out of Camera Raw. So let's get started with our clean edit base. I've assigned my function key F5 to play my actions, so that's all I'm doing to play these. It states to open the folder to reveal the layers within the clean edit. You can choose which ones you want on or off. You can invert them. The possibilities are endless. So we're going to hit continue, and we're going to open the folder. Now, this particular action, along with the skin smoothing, are reading the background. So we're not going to be able to run them on top of one another without confusing the layers. And let's face it, getting the layers back in the proper places sometimes can be a challenge. So this image really is pretty good the way it is, but there are things that I want to change within it. So what's cool is we have an auto histogram here, and you can see that it's bringing down some of the highlights. It has a bit of a soft rose tint to it. It's not truly invasive. Children usually have that natural pink tone within their skins. I'm not going to leave my fill on because I want the background to remain the same. But I do want to darken and enrichen up some things and do a little bit of color pop. And to darken, I don't want to apply that darkening to the entire image. So what I'm going to do is I click the layer on. I'm going to do Control I on a PC to invert the mask, and I'm going to paint it on this planter. Now I also want it a little richer. I can either increase the opacity of this. Helps if I painted it on at 100%. I paint everything on at 100% because I can always go back to the layer and reduce it. So let's go ahead and turn the richer on, and you see that really richens it up a lot. So we're going to just do it on the planter here. I'm doing this quick, so I hope my masking job isn't too bad. Now, boost the midtones. I do like it, but I'm thinking that I really want to do some pop of color first to see where I stand with this. So this is going to create a lot of saturation within your image, and I don't want it everywhere. So again, I'm going to invert that and just paint it on the areas that I want to pop a little color. Her dress has some amazing details in it, and I really want to pop those and the colors within that. And this contrast layer is affecting the entire image. And again, I like the softness of the background, so I'm going to invert this again, and I'm going to paint it on areas that I want that contrast. So in this case, I want to create more separation within her hair and give her hair a little more definition of her curls and the way her hair is laying. And what it's going to do is it's opening up and giving dimension to her hair and I'll show you a before and after. And all I'm doing is following the natural lines within her hair and changing my brush size to fit the needs that aren't going to be overly intrusive. And I'm going to paint some of this contrast on her dress here because it has some great details and the contrast helps bring that out. So this is with, whoops, sorry. This is with the contrast, this is without. And we can see the huge difference it made within her hair. So we're going to zoom out, and I'm very happy with the clean edit as it stands right now. So what I suggest everyone do at this point is do a save as, and we're going to call this, we'll just call it before skin or without skin. And we're going to save it as a separate PSD because if we want to come back to this, it'll be there. Then we're going to go ahead and flatten the image. Next, we'll run the skin action. And like I stated, that this works best on a flattened image due to the frequency separation and to do your skin cleaning of impurities prior, using a soft white brush, painting on and adjusting to your liking. And I'm going to say okay. So in this, we have a lot of the same options that we had in the clean edit. But the fill flash was reading the background on the clean edit, where this one is standing on its own. So what I want to do is turn this on, but I want to invert it because what I want to do is come in here and open up some of these shadows. And that's all I'm doing is opening the shadows. Now, she does have some dark spots under her eyes, and I want to reduce those just a touch. So I'm inverting that layer again, soft white brush, 100%, and I'm just going to soften those dark spots there. And we can brighten up her mouth a little bit. I'll zoom back out. And that looks pretty good right there. Let's choose the general skin smoothing because she doesn't need much, but it's going to be enough that it's going to create more of an even skin tone. And you can see that it's blending all of her tones quite nicely without being overpowering. We don't need her to look like a baby doll. Now, to be sure that you're not painting on areas that you wish not to be included, there is above on a PC, there is your backslash key above your enter, and all you have to do is hit that and you can see where you've masked. So I often will do this, and I'm just creating more of her skin tone to be a bit creamier when we go to apply the tones. She was quite tanned, so I think what I'm going to do is we're going to use brighten the midtones here just to open up this space and even her out just a tiny bit so that when we apply her natural skin tone, that it remains consistent throughout the image. So this was the before. This is the after where we stand right now. Now we can go to our tones, and you can run your tones on top of this. And the way to do that is to come to your top layer and then choose the skin tones, and it tells you to paint it on with a soft white brush. And you have quite a few choices here. Now she's pretty warm and peachy because of her being tanned. And I'm going to show you the difference between using these in soft light mode, which they default to, and multiply. So let's paint on the warm and peachy, and we're going to do it just on half of her face so that you can see what's going on here. Now on soft light, you notice that it brightens her entire face. If I change this to multiply, it's absorbed into the skin and she is the peachy tone that she was at the beginning. So what we're going to do is paint the warm and peachy on her. And it's just evening her out. You can increase the opacities of these, but be careful that you don't get overhand or heavy-handed, because otherwise the child isn't going to look like the child. And we're going to bring this tone all the way through, and you can see that it's putting back where we raised those highlights and blending her skin. Now you can mix and match these, so let's try this one. I'm going to set it to multiply because I had to for the previous one. So I would think that I would have to use it on multiply for this one also. And see, that just adds a little bit more peach. So we're going to just apply that to these lighter areas to even her out just a touch more. And I'll show you where we stand. Here was before, here we are. So in this set also is some color correctors. Anyone that knows me, I don't do the limeys. Part of the reason I don't is because I feel that they're so strong in a lot of images, it takes the viewer away from your focal point, being the child in this case. My eye goes to those bright greens and it's really yellow. So I'm going to run Fix the Yellow, and with my white brush I'm gonna knock these down so that they're not so bright. And you can see that worked wonderfully for this particular image. We're just gonna knock them down here and there. And that worked wonderfully. So now we have our lips and cheeks. I did not put these in a group because I want you to be able to run all of the skin on one PSD. So there are tones and there are colors. Depending on how you use them, you're going to use them in soft light or you're going to use them in multiply. If you're using them for a blush, they have to be set in multiply. If you're using them just to give a glow or a hint of a color, then you're going to leave them in soft light. So let's see which ones we're going to use here. And I like this pink on her lips. Be very careful to stay away from the teeth. Let's see, since we went pink there, let's see what this is going to do for her cheeks. Now, when you use this on cheeks, you want to follow the natural flush zones of the child. Oh, this is really pretty on her. Because they have a natural flush zone. And we don't want them to look too much of a doll. So this is before and this is after. There is a blanket blur included in this, which you can use at any point in time. But now that I'm looking at this, I want to add some contrast to the bottom here to give her a little more separation of her feet, her hand, and her dress. I can increase that a little bit. There we go. It's just enough to create some separation. So at this point, you would again save it, come over here, save as, and then you're going to save it as Clean Edit Skin. Whatever makes sense to you. For the purpose of the video, I'm going to go ahead and flatten my image. Because I also have this really cool eye action that works multi-purposed. And again, always using a soft white brush. And we're going to zoom into her eyes. And we're going to whiten the whites just a touch. You have to be very careful when doing the eyes because you can overdo it and they become alien looking. What's cool about this is that it works great on the teeth. And we're going to bring the opacity of this down to about 8. Now, my granddaughter has dark brown eyes also, and they're very hard to photograph. So I've created something that really shows off brown eyes well, and we'll run that in a minute also. But when you're lightening the iris, I'm sorry, can't talk today. Be careful to follow where the true light is coming from, otherwise you're just going to be lightening everything. Now there is a tack sharp, which you can use it on the entire eye, or you can use it just for the lashes to get them to stand out a touch more. And we're going to go back to those actions. There's blue eyes, green eyes, brown. There's a smoky eye for makeup effects, basically. But we're going to choose the brown for her. There we go. You do not want to touch the dark rim. You do not want to touch the pupil. You want to stay right on that iris. And you can see that it's popping all of her natural colors within her iris. There's the before. There's the after. It's subtle, but gives enough to brighten her entire eyes. So this is without the eyes. This is with the eyes. You always want to zoom out to review your image, especially doing the skin and the eyes. and bring your opacities down, whatever you might need. Now, you can use this tack sharp if you wanted to, let's just say, pronounce her dress a little bit more, or add some sharpness to her feet and her hands. You can do that. And all it's doing is applying some sharpening. And you would be done. You would go ahead and flatten the image, and you would do a save as and save your JPEG version of this particular image that you're working at. Now, I'm just going to show you, this was straight out of Lightroom, and it was given to me by one of my testers to further test these actions on. There's the before and there's the after, using the same effects that I just used. So you can take this action, apply it to babies, children. You could probably use it on adults, but their skin is usually much darker, and I do have a basic skin set for that. And you're more than welcome to watch the videos on that, or go to the website and view the before and afters. As always, I thank you all for your amazing kindness and support, and I hope that you find these tools beneficial in speeding up your workflow and being non-destructive at the same time. Thank you again, and have a great day.